Hello everybody and welcome back to Rebellious Menstruation and the review on these Pelvi cloth pads. It doesn't really like focusing, does it? And that is the tag. I don't know where the boxes or what they came in, but I don't have them. Sometimes I keep them to do the review and sometimes I don't. And in this case I just have these cloth pads. These are the 3 sizes that they have, which is this 7-inch, this looks probably 9, and this looks like an 11. Pelvi is founded in 2012 in Queensland, Australia, and they were founded and obviously called Pelvi for pelvic health, and they just wanted to promote a more easier way to access information about your pelvic health or your general pelvic floor issues, and for basically women to have accessibility to alternative products because of the issues with single-use disposables. So it's kind of not just about your period, it's about women's pelvic health in general, and they make and they want to fight, obviously, the stigma surrounding that. For most women, they'll probably know a lot of the information about, post-pregnancy or postpartum issues or, aging. Women have lots of issues with their pelvic floor in general. Such a weird way. Still prefer being a human than having what jackals have, but either way. That was the foundation of the company. They sell a variety of products, not just cloth pads. They sell underwear, both period underwear and light bladder leakage underwear, and they also sell menstrual cup as well, which I do not have. They also sell Kegels for increased pelvic floor strength, the leak-proof underwear, the period underwear. They also sell swimwear. Period and incontinence swimwear. They also sell incontinence underwear for men as well, because that's also a market that's important, instead of having single-use disposables for men. And they also sell sleepwear, and they have an ebook and resources section on their website as well. So I will link their website down below. This is not sponsored, or I purchased these myself, and this has nothing to do with the company. They have no idea who I am, but that's okay. This is I prefer it that way anyway, because then I can just revert how I feel about it. These are cotton outside. These are cotton and they're lined in microfiber, so the internal strength is microfiber, and as you can see, they have a variety of sales happening on their website at any general one time. So the panty liner holds up to about 25 mil, and of course is generally suitable. I wear this as a liner because I wear liners generally every day, but this is about up to 25 mil and can be used on a light day or just for general discharge. This regular is a moderate flow, because I can't say words apparently, and this is an overnight for a heavy flow. And so these are the 3 sizes that they have. They usually come in a little pink box. I will link the unboxing somewhere around here as well, because I completely forgot to keep a box. And you can buy these in a set. You can buy them individually or in a set. They are currently, as of the filming of this video, having a sale on. I don't know how frequent their sales are in general. Anyway, so that's what they are. These are You've probably seen a lot of my other stash. I have very highly patterned cloth pad collection. I have lots of ones with pictures, so I don't tend to find the patterns with business, because that's probably the easiest way to kind of differentiate between the two, is that cloth pad makers that are at home, or made from a maker at home, generally they'll tend to buy patterned cloth pads, like all of the ones that you'll see in my What I Wear this month, like the Aliens or the X-Files or Doctor Who or whatever's going on. You'll have all of those patterns in there. But you'll notice with companies that produce like Pelvi, I would define this as a company, even though it's a small business and it's women owned and it's ran out of, it's just probably more defined probably as a business than as a at-home maker. And like that brand Hannah, they're another one that they've like kind of made their own designs, but they generally won't tend to use patterns that you can go to Spotlight and pick up. Or Spotlight is an Australian fabric store. It's a infamous one here, or just one that everyone goes to. So I do find these types of patterns a little bit bland, a little bit on the bland side. Nothing actually wrong with it at all, and it's really just a personal preference criticism, that one. The liner, as you can see, is quite symmetrical. And they all have this kind of like very much, if you see how this is lined, how this bit here is lined up, this is where the side's sewn in, so it's all solid around the outside, and then each one has this link where they've linked the outside in and sewn them all together, and it's ironic that all three of them are exactly the same. I'm just recovering from the flu, which is why my voice is like this. And I will be randomly coughing, so I apologise for that. So outside of this one, which is relatively symmetrical in its design, as you can see with these next two, they come significantly down, so they're not centered. For people who are predominantly front bleeders or front or back bleeders, these can actually work out really, really well for you, because depending on how you position them, if you're a back bleeder, you would position them where this is where it would hit. If you're a front bleeder, you'd simply just flip that up, and then you'd have your blood flow going to where that is. And the padding is up until here. It is just sewn into the gusset here. However, for me, who is very much a centre bleeder, and you'll probably notice from this one, because I haven't fully removed the stain here, that this is where I will predominantly go. So that really, really works quite nicely for one that's symmetrical, but kind of have a diminishing return for ones like this. Just because this part here becomes functionally useless for me, and just kind of sits up behind my butt, and it just becomes a little bit, I just find this kind of, where it's not symmetrical, it's just something that I personally notice. If I have a longer one that is symmetrical in the middle, it bothers me far less, because I have the same amount of fabric at the front or at the back. However, again, a lot of these reviews you'll find, and just keep an eye out, you'll have to know how your period runs, and you have to have, and to be fair, using single-use disposables is very much a use it and forget it. I don't want to have to deal with my period. I don't have to run with my period, so I'll just use a tampon or use something and get away with it. Once you kind of get out of the mindset of single-use disposables, throw it away, and get into reusables, and your mindset changes. And so your mindset in cleaning them, and in hanging them out, and in drying them in the sun, and in bringing them inside, and having much more of a caretaker role to your body and your underwear and your cloth pads is that you get much more intimately aware of how your blood's flowing. That's why I know I'm a centimetre, or how this small at the top and the length at the back. I don't like it when it's asymmetrical. I much prefer my pads to be in a symmetrical function. So, having said all of that, most of these criticisms are really just how I personally prefer my cloth pads to work in my cycle, and how I prefer that vibrancy. Maybe there's nothing wrong with these pads. They are well made. They are easy to wash, easy to clean, and I didn't overtly stain treat them a lot to see how they held up. And while this one has some minor stains, and like this one doesn't, and I wore them all possibly the same. You can see them in what I wore this month over the past couple of months. But again, this is just a personal preference. I prefer my cloth pads to be a bit more vibrant. I prefer them to be symmetrical, but everything else about this is pretty nice. And they are very, very comfortable. They are lined in microfiber, but the outside and the backing is cotton. And depending on what type of sale you get, they were relatively cheap. So in comparison to a lot, they're possibly more expensive than the Amazon cheapies that you'll find. But again, I had a giveaway a little while back of a bunch of Amazon cloth pads that if that's what you can afford and it gets you out of the cycle of purchasing single-use disposables, and that's what you can afford, then that's what you should be getting. And in this case, these are nicely done, nicely designed. They're just not a design that personally works for me. And they are relatively affordable depending on where you are on a financial scale, which I'm not going to know. So, would I recommend them? Yeah. Depending on your flow and how you like your cloth pads. I will link their website down below. In general, it was quite a positive experience using these. I did take them away. They did. Probably this one is a bit thick. You can definitely feel the bulk in it, but these two are relatively normal for their sizing. And again, that's just the use of microfiber in the middle. Some cloth pad makers use like more of a PUL type substance, or some just don't use any type of barrier in the middle, because if you change them often enough, you don't need it. And so this thicker one, this one's a bit thick. But again, worth it. Relatively cheap, relatively affordable, depending on your own personal circumstances, and would recommend that you get them if you're looking at bulking out your stash a bit. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your morning, afternoon, or evening, of course, depending on where you are in the day, and I will catch up with you on the next video. Bye, everyone.